BMW is one of the most recognized car brands, and that's why today we will take a look at its most memorable or important cars, organized from the oldest to the most recent. And we start with the BMW 328, the brand's first racing car. Agile, lightweight, and technologically sophisticated, it won important races like Le Mans and the Mille Miglia. Its design, with bold and aerodynamic lines on an aluminum body, earned it a spot among the 25 finalists for the Car of the Century. 464 units were produced between 1936 and 1940, when things started to get complicated for Germany in the Second World War. 16 years later, BMW introduced the 507, probably the most attractive car the brand has ever created. It was conceived by Max Hoffmann, an importer of European luxury automobiles, who saw the potential that the German brand had to compete in the luxury sports car segment in the United States. To achieve this, BMW used the base of the 503, aiming to create a more attractive and cheaper option than the Mercedes 300 SL. Each car, featuring an aluminum body and a 3.2-liter V8 engine, was built almost entirely by hand. And although even Elvis Presley bought one, financially, the project did not go well. The car that was supposed to restore BMW's sporty image nearly drove the company to bankruptcy. The high production costs raised the final price from $5,000 to $10,000 at the time, making even the wealthiest hesitant to buy such an expensive car from a relatively unknown brand. Out of the projected 5,000 units, only 252 were built. But if there was one thing BMW was known for, it was their Gran Turismo models, those large two-door coupes designed for long-distance travel. And the E9, produced between 1968 and 1975, fulfilled that premise. Good design, good engines, and good comfort for traveling. But the one responsible for it being on this list is the 3.0 CSL, which was produced to homologate the car and participate in the European Touring Car Championship. To achieve this, its weight was reduced, power was increased, and an aerodynamic kit was added, resulting in one of the most powerful and aggressive cars of its generation. The next one on the list is the 2002, which for many car enthusiasts is the quintessential BMW, not only because it set the standard for what would be called the ultimate driving machine, but also because it demonstrates how proportions are the most important design element. The two technical characteristics that set it apart were the monocoque body and independent suspension, which combined with a simple and elemental design made it the perfect car of its time. But it's not only for these reasons that it appears here. The sporty and competition versions, the TII and 2002 Turbo, with the latter being the second mass-produced car with a turbocharger after World War II, solidified BMW's image as a brand of sporty cars for those who love to drive, something for which BMW is still recognized today. The 1980s was the era of excess, and the E24 represents that excess. Designed by Paul Bracq as a successor to the E9, it was produced between 1976 and 1989, becoming one of the brand's longest-running cars. Its design transitioned from the rounded edges of the E9 to one characterized by angles and straight lines, which was a revolution at the time. The most notable versions include the 635 CSI, the M635 CSI, prepared by Motorsport, which featured the engine from the supercar M1, and the ALPINA B7, a version created by the car tuner ALPINA, based on the M635 CSI. The ALPINA B7 boasted a power output of 300 horsepower, and in the 1980s, that was a significant horsepower. The M1 is another great car from BMW. The Germans wanted a car to compete, so they reached out to Lamborghini to jointly build it. However, due to technical differences, BMW ended the collaboration and decided to finish the car themselves. The M1, as it would be known, was the first BMW with the M badge and the first BMW with a mid-engine. The second mid-engine BMW would arrive 36 years later and would be known as the i8. But before we proceed with the last three, let's mention some specific models that deserve recognition. The Z8, which was inspired by the 507 and is also recognized as one of BMW's most beautiful cars, the Series 7 E38, considered by many as the best full-size sedan ever made by the brand, a legacy that has not been surpassed by its successors, despite all the technology they possess. The M3E46 CSL, a car created to homologate the competition version that had a 3.2-liter engine and 355 horsepower without requiring a turbo, and is now becoming a modern classic. The M5E60, with a design that was controversial at the time, stands out for having a V10 engine derived from a Formula One engine, the BMW Z3 M coupe, designed by ZAGATO, which involved turning the Z3 Roadster into a coupe. The result, well, judge for yourselves. The 600, originally created by the Italian company ISO to be a mobility solution after World War II, and the 2011 M1, an experiment that consisted of putting everything necessary to the 1 Series to make it a super hot hatch, and which is also shaping up to become a modern classic. Now, let's continue with the E30 series, a car that would be crucial for BMW. Available in 3-door and 4-door sedans, wagon, and convertible body styles, it aimed to compete with the Mercedes E190 and Audi 80. In fact, without the inclusion of the 4-door sedan and wagon body styles, BMW might not exist today, at least not as we know it. BMW was a niche car manufacturer facing difficulties in the early 1980s, especially in the United States, where it never reached 40,000 units sold annually. But the elegant and consistent lines of the 3 Series sedan, the inline 6-cylinder engine, and a sporty yet comfortable suspension multiplied sales and laid the foundation for what the brand is today. However, this wouldn't be complete without the first M3. Based on the E30 coupe, with a body aerodynamics kit, a 2-liter engine producing 200 horsepower, and improved suspensions and brakes, it aimed to be homologated for competition. Originally, plans were made to build 5,000 units, but the car was so successful that in total, more than 16,000 units were produced, and it is considered by the specialized press as one of the 5 best driving cars of all time. Let's continue with the BMW 8 Series, a grand touring car that represented the pinnacle of what the Bavarian company could offer at that time. Its design was inspired by the M1, featuring retractable headlights and absence of the B-pillar. It was innovative in many aspects, as it had a 5-link control arm suspension for more precise wheel travel, automatic stability control, remember we're in the 90s, variable assist steering based on speed, a dynamic control damping system known as EDC, and an active kinematics rear axle, a precursor to integral active steering. Additionally, it was the first mass-produced car to feature multiplex wiring or data bus. While it delivered impressive performance as a grand tourer, the highlight was the 850 CSI version, a 5.6-liter V12 engine producing 375 horsepower, capable of going from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.9 seconds. It featured modifications to the suspension, steering, brakes, and cooling systems. The significant missing car? The M Sport version, which, although it was considered for production and even had a prototype, never materialized because due to the oil crisis, BMW determined that a car with such characteristics would not sell. Before revealing the last one, if you've made it this far, consider subscribing. More videos like this are coming your way. And then came the E39, widely regarded as the best sedan ever made by BMW. With this car, the manufacturer decided to build a premium executive sedan for people who seemingly didn't care about exciting driving experiences. For many years, it set the benchmark for ride quality and maneuverability. But the creme de la creme was the M5, a wolf in sheep's clothing. The basic idea behind this car was to maintain a subtle design while incorporating a fantastic suspension, a 50-50 weight distribution, and a 395 horsepower V8 engine. The result was so impressive that, alongside the M3 E30, it is considered one of the greatest driving machines ever created, all wrapped in a deceptive package. And if you'd like to see the best and the worst in the history of Ford Motor Company, watch this video.